Hello, and welcome to Invitation to a Conversation. I'm Pamela Bailey. I hope everyone had a blessed week. Stay vigilant and remember to keep the Albury family in your prayers. And we're looking for justice. This morning, my guest is Pastor, a newly re-elected commissioner, Miss Felicia Harris.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Commissioner Dr. Felicia M. Harris is a product of the Glenn County school system. She graduated from Glenn Academy High School and Bethune-Cookman University with honors in academics and athletics. Felicia pledged Delta Sigma Theta while attending Bethune-Cookman University, graduating in 1988 with highest honors summa cum laude with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration. She is a single mother with one daughter, Lucretia R. Harris, who is a sideline reporter for ESPN. Commissioner Harris is a new grand bella of twins Raiden and Rayana. Felicia is the founder and executive pastor or chief executive officer of Worth It Nation International Ministries. She's employed with the U.S. Department of Treasury, Internal Revenue Service, Vice President of Wing of Faith Bible College, and sports official, a devoted community activist and volunteer. Felicia co-founded SWAP, SWAP Ministries, which stands for Sisters with a Purpose, a community ministry which serves the physical and spiritual needs of young ladies. Co-founded the Water Organization, H2O, a community organization serving the youth of this community. She is a member of the NAACP, Dixville Coalition, Black Businesswomen, Southeast Georgia Community Development, Women of Excellence in Government and Schools, Brunswick Recreation Volunteer Coach, former member of the Board of Directors for the Municipal Black Caucus, and was the first academics community mentor with the Brunswick Job Corps Center. She is a certified evangelist, serving as an evangelism explosion team member and biblical instructor, a mouthful of words, a biblical instructor. She has her doctorate in divinity from Faith Bible College and is a licensed biblical counselor. She is also affiliated with various other civic organizations. Her boards and committees and memberships is Black Business League, Community Development Commissioner, Community First, Indigent Care, Task Force Co-Chair, the Water H2O Co-Founder, Sisters with a Purpose Ministry, City of Brunswick Finance Committee, Forward Brunswick Steering Committee, Delta Sigma Theta, NAACP, Black Businesswoman, Gold Coast Officials Association, Hinesville Officials Association, and Women of Excellence Community Government and Schools. Good morning, Ms. Harris. How you doing?
Good morning. All is well. All is well.
Did I pronounce your daughters and your grandchildren's name correctly?
My daughter's name is Larissa Harris, and my grandbabies are Raiden and Raya.
And Raya.
Raiden and Raya.
Okay. Excuse me for mispronouncing that.
Understood.
Thank you for accepting my invitation to a conversation. I see this is the only way I can get you for an hour to myself. I've been knowing you since 2018 and I cannot catch up with you. You're a busy woman. Commissioner Harris, well, welcome to the grandparents' world. How is it going?
It's going awesome. I am excited. I am excited to start building a relationship with my babies, with my new grandbaby. So it's going well. It's going well.
You're going to have that relationship, believe me, when you want it and when you don't want it. So be prepared. What sports did you play?
I played basketball, I played softball, and I ran track.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
What was your decision to go into politics?
It was some personal decisions of some things that happened here in the community. One of the final, I've always been a community activist, so I've been doing the work, have been doing the work for a long time before I ever even decided to go into politics. And for me, most people choose politics as a career move. I chose it as a ministry move. So for me, it's not about the shenanigans of or the politics of this position as a commissioner, but it's a ministry. It's more for me about the serving of the people.
Oh, okay. What was your ideal of being a commissioner prior to you actually becoming one?
That's a really good question. And I pondered that. That's a really good question. Um, I don't know if I had too much of an in-depth concept of what commissioners actually did. I know what I thought on the surface was that they made decisions, but I didn't really know the in-depth inner workings of uh, what those actual decisions entailed. So I knew about, the commissioners. I knew my commissioners, even attended commission meetings infrequently. But the in-depth concept of it, I didn't have until I became one.
You're talking about the camaraderie of the rules, the regulations, the protocol,
Yes,
and
yes,
that your decision alone or your agenda alone is not yours, that you have to get other people on board in order
definitely.
for the things you wanted to get passed.
Yes, yes. And I learned that um that everything that I was being taught and I learned even on the federal side of things um transcends over to local and state government, and the ability to tie those things together is what you really need to have an understanding of, is the inner workings of how government works. But that's not the primary. That's one of the things, but it's not the sole thing. You need to have an understanding of people. You need to have a love for people. You need to have a love for your community, because there are decisions that you're going to have to make that are life altering decisions. And you've got to be able to have a consideration for people, and you've got to have a consideration for the effect and the business side of things.
Because your decisions may affect one group of people and another group of people may not like your decision. What
Correct.
he said is a life altering change forever,
Yeah.
how long it should be. Your Community Development Commission, is that the NPA?
The community, well, we were already doing some things in the community that dealt with strictly with the community. The NPA is, you can say that it's a community development initiative, but that is something that when I came on board as a commissioner, that's one of my pet projects, and I must give credit where credit is due, because Monica Harding, who was our neighborhoods and community development director at that time, she and I worked together to bring the program to Brunswick. It's not something that I created. It's not an initiative I created, but it's the initiative that I brought to the city of Brunswick, along with the forerunning of Monica Harding, who was then with the city. So shouts out to Monica, because she worked hard with me and guiding me to bring that program, that initiative over to the city.
Okay, I have a lot of questions for you in a little bit of time, but I'm gonna try to get them in.
Okay.
Explain to the people how a campaign goes.
Woo! Campaign.
Yeah.
That's another beast.
A short synopsis of how a campaign goes.
I how just in general the campaign
Yes.
goes, campaigning goes, where you've got to make the decision that it's something that you want to do, and don't do it hastily, but make that decision. Once you make the decision that you want to run, then you have to qualify, and you've got certain time frame for city municipal government to qualify. So you have to go through your qualifying. They give you a certain deadline in which to make your payment, and then to submit your documentation to qualify. Once you've done that, that period runs for a specified time frame. And then now, once you've actually qualified and the Board of Elections has actually qualified you or certified that you are a certified candidate, now you can begin to start to maneuvering, and you've got to go and get your backers, your supporters, financially, those who support you, give to your efforts and for your campaigning. You're getting your campaign material to let people know that, yes, I am a candidate. This is the race that I am the seat that I'm running for. So now you start getting out in the community, which for me really wasn't a big effort, because I've always been out in the community, and I like to be out around people and go see people and talk to people and just know them. So you have to go out, make sure people know who you are, make sure they know what you stand for, what your platform is. And, just from there, go out and just do your thing. Just know what you're talking about. Don't go out making empty promises to people that you can't keep. And so just hear what the people want to say. First of all, that's what I would tell any candidate. Listen at what the people are saying, and then work with them.
How stringent is the requirements to be qualified?
Well, all of that information is on the Board of Elections website. So you have to be a certain age. You have to be a resident of the area that you are running for. Like if you're running for like city elections, although all of the city residents vote for all of the city officials, in order to, we are broken up into wards. We're not like the county where we're broken up into 5 districts. The county is broken up into 5 districts. The city is broken up into wards. So we have the North Ward, we have the South Ward. And so I am the South Ward City Commissioner, but I tell people I have no boundaries. I'm going to work with you North or South. It doesn't matter to me. You're a city resident, I'm going to work with you. I have no problem with you calling me. So, we're broken up into wards.
Well, congratulations. And your opponents, you overcame them.
To God be the glory.
Yes, congratulations on your re-election. How many terms is this for you?
This is actually going to be, I'll be going into my 3rd term in January 2022.
Your 3rd term. How is your agenda different from your 1st term to your 2nd term and your 3rd term? And did anything on your agenda ever come to fruition?
My agenda will remain the same, because my agenda has always been people first, building this community, building stability, building a sustainable environment to be safe, to work, to raise your children, to worship, to have a fulfillment of life that all people want. It doesn't matter what color you are. Everyone wants the same things out of life. They want to know that they can raise their families in a safe environment. They want to know that they're going to have financial stability. They want to know that they're going to be able to just enjoy life. So my agenda in that aspect doesn't change. Now, those things and the manners in which we get to those objectives have changed, because some things have been added, some things have been taken away. I've learned over these years to pursue those things that are most effective in helping to achieve those things, but also taking into consideration of my constituents in building the plan as to how we reach that together. And so those are the things that I've learned over these years. And give me the rest of the question, because I kind of.
Has anything on your agenda come to fruition?
Yes, the neighborhood planning assemblies, the land bank, because we deal with housing matters here in the city of Brunswick, and everybody wants to concentrate on the city of Brunswick, but housing issues run throughout this entire county. Housing issues run throughout this entire country. So the city of Brunswick isn't the only city that's dealing with these matters. We're not the only city that deals with safety matters. Although the city of Brunswick gets a bad rap because we are a very safe city, regardless of what people on the outside that don't live here conceive based upon media misperceptions. We're a very safe environment to live in. Once people come, they decide that they don't want to leave the city of Brunswick. Now, are there things that we can improve upon? Yes, there are. And so we have increased the pay of all of our workers for the city, throughout the fire department, the police department, public works, throughout the entire administration. So those things have come to pass. Jobs, we're building jobs, we're creating jobs. Those things have come to pass. The ability to be educated. So those resources are coming to pass through the college, through the other technical institutions. Broadband, the ability to have access to broadband, those things are coming to fruition. My baby, NPAs, neighborhood planning assemblies, giving communities the opportunity and the vehicle and the voice to determine what happens in their community, to have that direct impact, to have that direct line with city administration and city officials, that if you're not comfortable with coming to a city commission meeting, we'll come to you. So those things have come to pass.
Which came first, pastor or politics?
Pastor. Pastor. It's always been in my DNA, even though I ran from it a long time. But pastoring, loving people, shepherding. I would rather say shepherding than actually pastoring, because it's so much other stuff and so much negative stuff that comes with the title of being a pastor, because of, you know, how people sometimes misuse or abuse that titling. So I'm a shepherd, because I care about my sheep, and whether you're a part of my flock or not, I care about you.
How does pastor and commissioner, advantages and the disadvantages of being a pastor and being a commissioner at the same time?
Really, for me, it's not a disadvantage. The only disadvantage that I would say is the misconstruing of government and government and being a pastor, or government and worship, or government and being in the church, because we have to understand a lot of as an African American woman, a lot of our movements are African American person. A lot of our movement stemmed from the church.
Mhm.
That was our power base. When we couldn't meet anywhere else, we could meet in our churches and stuff. And so for me, we have lost that connection. Our forefathers, even the Constitution, was founded based upon Christian principles. And so the separation of church and government, I think that we have misconstrued that, because I think there were some people trying to take advantage of different things. But I think that each one has their perspective place in our society. And we just have to learn how to keep those things in their perspective. But for me, it's not a disadvantage. I mean, I learned how to deal with people being a pastor. I learned how to deal with people being a commissioner. So for me, being a commissioner and being a pastor transcends both boundaries that people try to limit me to.
And you just segue into one of my questions: does politics belong in the church?
I really think they do.
Mhm.
There may be a lot of people that disagree with me, but you know, you have the right to disagree with my position. And as I said, that's how the African American was able to build their base, because when we couldn't meet in public buildings, we could meet or government buildings or what have you. When we were limited to where we could meet in our churches. We didn't have any other places to be able to meet. And so for us as a culture and the people, that's where information was disseminated to us. That's where we learned about society. That's where we learned how to move and to operate and function in society. That was our learning base, was our church.
Truly, because if you look at some of our movies back in the days, they came like Rosewood, they came together in the evening time for neighborhood meetings, for situations that happen in the community during the day. So you're so right. Expect even school, everything
Yep.
happened in the
Yep.
house, in the church house.
Yes.
Being an evangelist, this is kind of funny, but being an evangelist, you know you carry the Holy Spirit. So talking to various people, you can kind of feel their spirit. So have you ever wanted to place hands on anybody that you've spoken to in the community?
You want to put me out there now, sure enough. In which manner do you mean putting hands on?
I mean violently, I mean spiritually.
One thing I have to say is that that the Holy Spirit governs me. It governs my tongue and it governs my action. It governs my thoughts. When a thought may come that should not come, the Holy Spirit quickly brings me back into line. And so it is a challenge. I must say it is a challenge in that area. Having the compassion for people and then having a discerning spirit, to be able to pick up on what a person is saying versus what they really think. But then I must give credit where credit is due. God governs our thoughts and he governs our tongue. And so it helps me in that manner to act accordingly and to speak and to react accordingly. So yes, it governs me.
How long will you be in politics?
I will be here until God tells me that my assignment is over.
I heard that. Will you run for mayor?
That has been a challenging question for quite some time. When I first came into office, people have been asking me that. And that too is according to how God would lead me. I didn't get into this to become mayor.
Mm-hmm.
That being a mayor was not and is not my end all. My end all is seeing people and the equitability of people being recognized come to pass. Seeing the city of Brunswick reach its full petition is my end all game. That's my end all game. Mayor is not my end all game.
Right. Well, I asked that question because in local government, you start out as either board members, then you go up, be commissioner, then the next level would be mayor, right? And then the next level will be the state or congresswoman. So I was just asking that question. Has there ever been a female mayor here in Brunswick?
There's never been a female mayor. And if there is to be one, I will be it.
Okay.
I'll end that. I'll answer that question. I'll use that answer to answer your last question.
Okay.
So yes, if there is to be one, I plan on being it.
What was the deciding factor for you to run for another term for commissioner?
Is to continue the work that this commission. One thing I must say, this commission that I've had the privilege of serving with for the last 8 years, almost 8 years, we're almost at the end of the second term now, has been such an experience. It's been really a great experience for me because we've had to learn each other. We've had to learn how to work with each other. We've had to learn how to agree to disagree. We've had to learn how to move forward in times of adversity. And we've done that. We've come together, not saying that we agreed on everything, but we learned how to agree to disagree, but still keep the best interests of the people in the forefront of all of our decisions. And so continuing and seeing some of the projects and things that we have started and that I've been able to be a part of come to fruition and to come to keep those things moving is my main determinant in continuing this effort and just continuing to fight for the people, fight on behalf of all people, all of the citizens of Brunswick.
Now, we're in an election season because you just won newly re-elected as commissioner. Do you think that it is based on an individual? Do you think it's smarter or better for them to start their political field being commissioner so they can understand the rules, the regulations of the city to become mayor, if that is what they are aspiring to be? Or do you think some should just put in the poll and run for mayor? I'm just asking that question because we have 8 people running for mayor, and some of them are in the political field and some not. So I'm just asking, do you think that will be a much smarter move for them to start at that level as commissioner?
Well, I won't really say that it's so necessary. It's such a necessity for them to start as a commissioner. It would be an advantage. It would be an advantage for them to go through that protocol. But I won't say that's a catch-all. I wouldn't say that's a necessity because some people do have a political background. Some people have been in the trenches of learning about municipal government and the inner workings of government. And it's not necessarily through the track of being a commissioner first and moving up to being a mayor. So I wouldn't put that as such a necessity, a qualifier or disqualifier, because you have a lot of people that are actively engaged in the community. But being an activist and being a commissioner are not the same thing. I must put that out there. Being an activist does not make you a commissioner, and being a commissioner doesn't mean that you're an activist. So it works both ways. But I would say to anyone that has a desire to move into the political arena or into being a commissioner, what have you, learn about it. Get an understanding and inner workings. Get on boards and stuff if you're interested in it. Get on some of the boards. The city has a lot of boards, and we are constantly inviting and asking people that are interested in helping us run this city effectively and helping the city to become a better place for all people. Get involved in our commission meetings. Get involved in some of the boards. Get on some of the boards. Apply for some of those boards so you can learn more about the inner workings of government.
Now, one of my hot topics is downtown versus urban communities. I go to a lot of meetings and listen to a lot of town halls and things, and there's always a New Brunswick development downtown, all these things. So what is your take on downtown versus the urban communities? When will the headlines be revising urban communities? Let's do it.
Well, see, and that's one of the things that I want to work and be a catalyst in changing, for lack of a better word, changing. It's not so much as causing downtown to be versus the urban area or the intra-city. I call it intra-city because we're intercity and intra-city. And so I want to change that perspective, that it has to be downtown versus. It should be downtown in conjunction with. It should be downtown working with the intra-city, working with all of the city of Brunswick. That when people not necessarily just come to the city of Brunswick because they're trying to get into the downtown area, but that be a catalyst because learning in this space is, a lot of people, when they do come, they come looking for the downtown area. But the downtown area should not be so separated. It should point to all of Brunswick, not just the downtown area. It should point to every area of the city of Brunswick. And so it should be that catalyst that sparks development everywhere.
Because the inner city leads you to downtown. You
Yes.
just can't go downtown without passing through an urban community.
Without passing through, and
Yes.
it's the foundation.
Yes.
It's the foundation, and that's one of the things that I've been saying since I've been a commissioner. You can't build a house from the outside in. A house is built from the inside out. And you've got to have a firm foundation, because if you don't have a foundation, you can't put up the sheetrock and the 2x4s and the roof and all that kind of stuff. And so building a firm foundation means building the entirety of the city. It means building the entirety of the city of Brunswick. And like you said, the paths that lead to downtown have to travel through the intercity. They have to travel through the entire city. You don't just pop up on downtown. You have to travel through to get there. And so it's just like the blood vessels carrying blood from the heart to the rest of the body. The heart doesn't do it by itself.
And the veins, like you said, the veins into the downtown area is Reynolds Street, Ellis Street, Norwood Street. All those go
Albany
to
Street,
the downtown area. And
Albany Street, Gloucester.
Yes, and that's the vision for Brunswick, is to have everything looking good and then go down there. Because I don't think they built downtown and then the inner cities. I think that the inner cities were built first, and then the downtown was offset from the inner city for them to have a place to go. What does affordable housing mean to you?
It means that everybody has the same equitable opportunity to have livable amenities, to have not substandard housing, but have standard housing or above standard housing, not substandard housing. It means that you have the same, even regardless of your financial abilities, that you still have the right to have housing that will assist you with raising your family, and not put you in, if you're in a financial hardship, not cause more hardship on you.
Right, because you have a certain amount of money, you can have a decent amenities. I'm not saying that you're supposed to have the astronomical of it, but you can have a standard amenities of everybody else has. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's just like Walmart versus Belk's or Macy's.
Exactly. Winn-Dixie versus Harris Teeter. That's right. It may not be Harris Teeter's, but we can still have the same things that Harris Teeter sells.
Yes. It can still be affordable.
Yeah, because that you mentioned that, because supermarkets change so different based on the neighborhood that they're in.
Yes.
Yeah. What's next for Pastor Harris and Commissioner Harris?
What's next for me is, just continuing the fight for a better Brunswick. When we came in, our slogan was build a better Brunswick. And we will continue on that track to build a better Brunswick. And when we say that, that means for all people. That means for everybody, for every walk of life. That means building L Street. That means building up Dixville. That means building up Windsor Park. That means building up Habersham Park, Old Town, New Town, Magnolia Park, College Park, Goodyear area. That means building up Urbana area. That means building up the Orange Park area. that means just building everybody. And it reminds me because as a pastor, and you watch your petitioners, or your congregates, and everybody, there are some people that enter the door at the same time, but they don't grow at the same rate.
Mhm, mhm.
And so there are some people that in different areas, that they may be in the city of Brunswick, but they may not grow at the same rate, but they still should have the opportunity to grow. And as a pastor, that's my responsibility, is to make sure that everybody has an equitable opportunity to grow. And so that's my responsibility as a commissioner, is to make sure that everybody has the same equitable opportunity to grow.
That, you brought up infrastructure and a question came across my mind. Do you ever think that Brunswick will get first, do you think Brunswick will get all these streets redone? But my next question is, do all of the streets need to be redone?
There are some that are in worse condition than others. One thing I can say about this commission, we have done more with the correcting of our sewer systems and the paving of our streets than commissions before us. For whatever reason, I can't go back there. I'm not trying to dote on that. All I'm doing is moving from where we came in and what we've been able to accomplish. And so we've been able to accomplish, I can't put the numbers on it, but we do have documentation on it. So many square feet, so many miles of repaving of roads and streets within the city of Brunswick, and correcting sewer matters and issues. And that's one of the things. Some things have not been done for so long in the city of Brunswick, and records were not adequately kept for maintenance and all of these other matters. And so now we're correcting those things. We're getting a handle and setting up better systems of maintaining our systems and keeping records of maintenance and all of those things of our systems that need to be done, so that anybody and those coming behind me will have adequate records to be able to continue to make sure that these things are in proper functioning operating order. So we do have while we have more work to do and more streets to do, we are working to get those things done.
And one thing that happens is when you do come into a new organization or a new team like this, sometimes you can't really push your agenda because you have to clean up what's already there and update it to the standards of what is happening today. Because what was done years ago is not functioning to what it is today. And sometimes that's the fight, because some people think it should remain the way it is. And some people say, let's revise it, you know? So I understand that plight. What is your take on the new commissioner and the newcomer mayor? You have a new North Ward commissioner, newly elected, Kendra Roll, and now we have a runoff coming in November the 30th. What's your take on this new election?
My take on the newly elected commissioner-elect Kendra Roll is I am elated.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she's a wonderful person. I think she's going to do an awesome job. She's willing to learn. She has indicated that. She has made that public knowledge that I don't know everything, but what I don't know, I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to listen. So I'm excited. I'm excited about the younger generation getting involved. That was one of the things that I also asked and wanted to see as an incoming commissioner, is that we engage the younger generation. And so that is coming to pass. And I'm seeing the younger generation become interested in what's going on and what's happening in their community, and they're getting engaged. And so now that we ask them to get engaged, now we have to be ready to empower them, because just getting the person engaged doesn't mean that you necessarily empower them. And so sometimes we have to get out our own way so that things can move forward and continue to progress. And so not only have they engaged, but now they're being empowered. And so I'm excited. I am so excited about the future of Brunswick.
And that's one thing that I noticed with so many of the the candidates who ran for commissioner mayor, that the age group of them were for a certain demographic of people. You had people of the older age, you had the millennials, and you had the younger generation. And sometimes if you look through certain jobs, you can see around time that they go from older people to younger people and then back again. And I think right now where we at in the world with all the news of what's going on, the millennials are being more aggressive and paying attention and being more political. And I think, yes, that's what did it.
And I'm gonna tell you this, people, one thing I want people to know about me is that I'm not a politician. I'm a citizen. I believe in the citizens. I'm a concerned citizen. Politics has never been my agenda. The concerns of people is.
Who inspires you?
Oh man.
I know that's another hour.
Oh man. I mean, my inspiration comes from my family. My inspiration, of course, comes from the Word of God. My inspiration comes from people like you. Just everyday people just trying to make a living, everyday people just trying to make it through this life. That's who inspires me. I mean, you've got all of the big names, and yes, I take inspiration from them and all of that good stuff, but some of those people I can't go put my hands on.
There you go.
I can put my hands on a Pamela Bailey. I can put my hands on a Vanessa Booker, Alan Booker, Sheila Jackson, a Katina Lumpkin. Those are people that's in my church. I can put my hands even on a Julie Martin. I can put my hands, on those people who are here with me immediately. These are the people who inspire me. My fellow commissioners inspire me. My community inspires me. Dixville inspires me, regardless of what people say or think. They're on the outside looking in. Even Sea Island inspired. I'm inspired by my immediacy, because these are the things and the people that I can put my hands on that directly impact my life, and I directly impact their lives. While I do have national heroes and stuff like that, my immediate influence is on the city of Brunswick. It's from the city of Brunswick.
Well, thank you for letting me know that I inspire you. You inspire me. What is your favorite scripture, phrase, or testimony?
Oh, I have so many. Has so many. But I love Psalms, the 91st Psalm. I love that. But I also love Ezekiel 16:6, because there was a time in my life that I didn't know if I was gonna make it. And Ezekiel 16:6 was my inspiration. And it says, when I saw thee polluted in thine own blood, I said unto thee, live. Yea, I said unto thee, live. And so I think that's even for the times that we're in. And I also wanted to say that the Albury family inspires me, because the fight that they're in, they have not given up, and they have taken up a peaceful protesting of what has happened, and they're moving in the peacefulness of it. When people thought that they were going to do other things, they're showing the world how it is to fight, and to fight with intelligence. But they are also my local heroes as well. But Ezekiel 16:6 is one of the verses I think applies to the times that we're in. And if you've not read it, if you read it before, you don't remember it, go back and read it. But it talks about us being polluted in our own circumstances. When it says, when I saw thee, when God was telling the children of Israel, when I saw thee polluted in thine own blood,
Mhm.
That means we were caught up in our own circumstances and mess. But even when he saw us, That's the thing that he letting us know. I see you. No
Mhm.
matter what you're going through, no matter what your fight is, I see you. And
Mm.
I see things may not be quite the way you think they should be, or people even think. He said, but when I saw thee polluted in thy own blood, he said, I still spoke life into you. He said, so I'm speaking life into every situation that you may be encountering. And I say, live. And then he said it a second time. Yes, I'm telling you to live.
And you said that was Ezekiel 16:6.
Yes.
Okay. Miss Commissioner Pastor Harris, what wisdom or advice do you have for women? This is my last question. You've been doing good. You did good.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
doing
Thank you,
good.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving the opportunity. I've been waiting to talk with you. I love it. I know you've been staying on me. I know you've been staying on me, but I appreciate your patience.
Thank you. Thank you. But the last question is, what is your wisdom or advice do you have for women who want to seek politics?
I would say just be who you are. The same advice I would give a young woman wanting to go into politics, or a young minister aspiring to be a pastor, or whatever the aspiration is. Be who God called you to be. Be who you are. Um, I don't try to be a male pastor in the pulpit. I'm a woman, and that's who God created me. That's who I'm gonna be, and that's who I'm gonna be. And so I am a male. I'm not a male commissioner, so I'm not gonna try to be a male commissioner. I'm a female, all female, and that's who I'm going to be. And so I'm going to be that nurturer, because that's what God instilled in me. I'm going to have that compassion, because that's what God instilled in me. So I'm going to be who I am, and I'm not going to change who I am for anybody. I'm going to be who God called me to be. I'm going to keep on caring. I remember when I had an incident when I first became a commissioner, and was fighting for Howard Coffin Park, and I had a lady to send me an email telling me that I was disingenuous, because I said I was going to fight for all of the people, because I was fighting for Howard Coffin Park. But I had to remind her, I'm still keeping my word that I said. I said I was going to fight for everybody, and I'm going to fight for everybody. The same way I fight for Howard Coffin Park is the same way I fight for Mary Ross Park. It's the same way I fight for Overlook Park. It's the same way I'm going to fight for Orange Park. The same way I'm going to fight for Self. It doesn't matter. And so I'm going to fight, and I'm going to stay who I am and stay true to me in my fight.
And you know what, that's one thing about growing into your own adulthood and maturing, that when you first get out into this world, you want to be a part of the scene, maybe an actor, actress, celebrity, or whatever, musician. But somewhere along the line, you're going to learn that trying to be somebody you're not, that's going to wear you down. And so you learn to be in your own skin and embrace who you are, good, bad, or indifference. And then, like you said, when you're around people, you're comfortable because you know who you are and you can have that voice. Because I'll never forget the first time I met you, but that's not for the audience to know. But I want to say thank you for taking out your daily time, Grandma, for this invitation to a conversation. I enjoyed it, and I hope the viewing audience also enjoys it too. And there you have it, our third term re-elected South Ward Commissioner, Felicia Harris. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You
All
too.
right. Bye-bye.